Hello, everybody. Weebrabbit here, and welcome back to the Otaku Overload Podcast, episode 26. As you guys can probably tell from the title of this podcast episode, this is going to be an episode that's going to be heavily focused on The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Just want to throw that out there now, that there is going to be a couple of things else that we're going to talk about, but it's mostly going to focus on that because it's just something really big we've been looking forward to, something that's where we spent most of our time this week, etc. So most of the time we'll go to that, and they will be broken up into spoiler and non-spoiler sections. So even if you haven't played the game yet, you can at least get like an overall, idea of what we think of it and stuff. So don't worry, we will say, starting spoilers now, whatever, and it will be in the description below. So, but yeah, we're excited. Legend of Jonathan, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm super happy that the Zelda game finally came out. And, I was pretty hyped for the past few years. I know a lot of my friends were hyped about it. And yeah, I already have ideas of how I can rename this title for the Legend of Jonathan series. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy because I know before we started, we were talking about how it's crazy that we're like, oh yeah, did you see like those like video clips of like people lining up to like get their pre-orders and stuff?
Yeah.
It was crazy, right? Those people that like I think it's like the most business GameStop has had like in a while because it was like lines like out the door and around the block of people just waiting for like the release.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I saw some people that literally like, yeah, a bunch of people in line. A lot of people showed up in cosplay as well. Um, like you said, it's probably the longest line I've ever seen involving like GameStop because GameStop's like their business isn't usually that like it's not going so well. And it was pretty crazy seeing a lot of people line up for GameStop to get the game.
Yeah,
And
because it used to be common, like before that, like even a few years ago, like before the pandemic, let's say like, oh, I don't know, maybe as late as like, I don't know, like 2017, let's say,
that's what I was
somewhere around
thinking, like
there.
around there, yeah.
People would still go and they would line up for like those like midnight releases, quote unquote. And
Hmm.
there would be like some games that had like got a lot of attention. But then after that, with like the pandemic, how that really slowed things down. Like since
Hmm.
then, I hadn't really seen this because a lot of people just would go elsewhere, like online or whatever, I guess. But I don't know, a lot of people just again return to GameStop, and yeah, we got these lines like back in the old days where yeah, I remember like when I went to get what game was it? It was Persona 5. When I went to go pick it up because I pre-ordered it, I pre-ordered the deluxe edition or whatever that comes like in a box. I remember
Yeah.
there was like a pretty lengthy line of people just waiting to get the game and stuff. It was pretty cool.
No, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's just really cool. But it makes sense though, because think about how well the Switch has sold. And then if like a big part of that fan base is Zelda fans, then yeah, it makes sense that like for every, even if it only like let's say, oh, I don't know, if only like a quarter of the people that bought a Switch are buying a copy, that's still a lot.
Hmm.
So that's pretty cool. But yeah, like I said, we're going to talk about Zelda in a moment. We're going to talk about our thoughts, spoiler, not spoiler sections. Before that, as usual, we just kind of want to take care of our weeks real quick. Did you have anything to talk about though? How did your week go?
My week went pretty well, but I don't really have much to talk about. I don't really think I did much that's like kind of like, like as usual, I kind of like watched or say the dub, and then that was pretty much it. But because it's been finals, like that I've been trying to catch up with that. Once that's over, I'll probably focus on a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
What is pretty cool that I learned in class though, because I've been taking network security, like cybersecurity, I learned how to make Ethernet cables though.
Oh, that's legit. That's cool.
Yeah, so I learned how to make those. But the problem is that like, yeah, I've been having like do it over and over because I mess up a lot with certain stuff. But like I have been able to clip the like the head on. I've been able to put the wires in the thing itself. I have been able to cut the cables open and like untwist them and everything. But like the lining up and making sure the cables are like right and like they're working and everything, that is like the problem though.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you're just slowly like getting better at it. You're still missing some steps though, basically.
Yeah.
I got you. I got you. That's pretty cool
Yeah.
though. Is it hard to make them?
Well, sort of, because it takes quite a while because basically Ethernet cables, there's like I think there's like I'm not sure actually. I don't know if it's like two or three types of cables, but basically there's ones that have fiberglass in them, and the ones we were working with, they have copper wire.
Mm.
And copper wire is the easiest and most safest kind of like way to use cables, while the fiber ones are difficult because basically if you break them, you have to be careful of picking them up because they can like stab into your skin super easily and without you noticing, and they can go in your blood and you can like end up dying or something like that.
Yeah,
And they
because
have to like,
fiberglass is supposed to be pretty dangerous.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, it's because it's weird to describe fiberglass. Like, I've seen like when they do it for like I don't know, like other settings like roofs and stuff. When you're like
yeah.
breaking down a roof and it has like fiberglass in the material, and yeah, it's crazy because it just feels like a bunch of dust on you, but it's not really dust. It's like shards of glass, and it kind of gets stuck in you and stuff. Yeah, it's
And you're
weird.
sit, yeah. And so obviously, like you're using copper because it's more safer and everything.
Yeah.
But what sucks is that basically you have to twist each cable. But the problem is that they can break so easily.
Oh damn.
So and then since I'm not like I'm good at cutting the thing open and then taking the cap off of the wire and then being able to untwist the wires on the inside. What sucks is that basically sometimes I think it cuts a bit of the wire, and so I have to be careful because if not, it probably could like it'll bet when I like try to like move it a bit to like separate them, it like rips a lot of them rip, and then I have to like tear it apart and then redo it from scratch again.
Damn, that sucks. Yeah,
Yeah, so
it sounds like it's a bit of work. I got you.
yeah, like you have to like do it over and over until you get it right. And then the problem is like the cable is all short, and it's not like an extremely long one where you can just keep doing it over and over and over and over until you get it right. It's like no, like eventually when I like get to like the end and I get it right, it's probably gonna be too short.
God, that sucks.
Yeah.
But hey, at least it's interesting. At least you're learning. That sounds pretty cool. That's pretty interesting being able to make your own Ethernets and stuff. That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. That's pretty cool. Sounds like I mean, I remember you've mentioned some other stuff you've learned about, so pretty cool. Seems like you learned some really good stuff having to do with computers and stuff. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Was there anything else, or was that basically it? Because you said you've been just mostly busy, huh? So just like school stuff.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Then jumping over to my week real quick, like I said, just want to cover some stuff real quick, and now we can get to the Zelda. I did two things that were of note. The first one is something that's familiar. That's because I watched the sixth episode of Pokemon Horizons.
Yeah.
So I'll talk
Yeah.
about that real quick. So sixth episode was pretty interesting. Basically, it ends. It picks up where the other one left off, where Roy, he was hanging out with like our other characters, and he was trying to protect the little 𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐿, and he was bonding with it, and that evil organization, they were trying to like steal the pendant from 𝐤𝐤𝐿 or whatever, blah blah blah, and fighting them or whatever. Then at the end, because they were like in close proximity, 𝐤𝐤𝐿's pendant seemed to like activate the little Pokeball that Roy has.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, it summons a black Rayquaza, which was really cool.
Oh, that's super cool.
And it's not like it came out of the Pokeball. It's like it literally summoned it. Like it shot a column of light into the sky, and then Rayquaza just came down from like the heavens and started like raining fire on everything. So like the bad guys retreated, and then like even the good guys were all scared. But then Rayquaza like flew away. And from
Yeah.
there, it was just like them talking to like Roy's grandpa. He said he had no idea that he saw the Pokemon on the beach when he was young. And then when Roy asked for it, he just like gave it to him because like, yeah, sure, you can have it. I didn't know those like it did anything.
Yeah.
And then from there, Roy talks about he wants to join them, but he thinks his grandpa won't let him. But his grandpa knew all along that yeah, he knows Roy wants to go on adventures and stuff. So he says sure. And so Roy basically joins the team, and they are setting sail towards Paldea. So I think in the next episode they'll finally reach it. It will hopefully see more of 𝐤𝐤𝐿's family and like what is happening. Maybe a little more
Yeah.
of like, what's actually happening. Yeah, because not that I haven't enjoyed it, but all of this has felt very much like it's like still setting up the series. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because like, okay, I get it. We're collecting our character. We have our two main characters now, but what's gonna actually happen? Like, what's gonna actually be like the point of the story? Is it gonna be that they're gonna be traveling around with these people in the airship, catching Pokemon? Are they gonna be trying to solve the mystery of the pendants? Are they be going to different areas looking for clues? Like, what's gonna be the point? You know what I mean? So that's what's kind of I'm not, it's not that I'm not enjoying it, but I'm kind of wondering, okay, like
Yeah.
what's going to be the point? Like, what will the series actually look like from week to week once it actually sets up? But yeah, good episode. I'm glad that Roy joined the crew. That was cool. It was fun. There was a little section where him and 𝐤𝐤𝐤 actually teamed up their Sprigatito and the Fuecoco to attack the bad guy. And it was kind of cool. They actually did like a little combo move together, which was pretty cool. They fought together. Like that was pretty fun. And yeah, the evil organization continues to be like really cool and like really mysterious. Like they were like in this chamber talking to this guy. It's like his name's like Master Gibeon or like Lord Gibeon or something like that. But you don't see him. It's just like a column of like light in like a dark room. And all you hear is his voice or whatever. So it's like, okay, they're setting up like an interesting organization that we don't really know what they want, but they seem like a big threat or whatever. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was pretty lit.
Yeah. And that's basically it. So, we just got a little bit more progression in the series. And like I said, it's the next episode I'm looking forward to see if we finally kind of get an idea of, okay, what will episodes actually look like now, hopefully.
Yeah.
Then the other thing I did that was of note is that I watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Oh
And
boy.
I really liked it. I'm going to not give any spoilers, because I feel like it's one of those movies that you kind of want to go in mostly blind to watch it. But I will say that I really enjoyed it. It's been one of maybe the best out of this, new phase of movies or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I liked Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. That one was fine. I think did Spider-Man count as this phase, or was it the last one?
I thought it was the last one.
Okay, yeah, because I was gonna say I haven't really liked a movie in this long since Spider-Man. I think
Yeah.
Spider-Man was my last one that I really, really enjoyed. So yeah, it's probably been like the best one since like Spider-Man, for instance.
Yeah, I've heard that
So
the movie's pretty good, and yeah, I don't want to get spoiled.
yeah, it's pretty serious. Like a lot of people, that's what I will say. A
It's
lot of
really
people are
sad, I've
saying,
heard. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of people are saying like, oh, it kind of pushes its like PG-13 rating, and it really does. Like I feel there's a lot of stuff that's like, oh, it's like really serious, and there's some parts where it's like really, I don't know, what's like the word, like really not negative, but like very. I'm trying to think of like,
Depressing.
yeah, I can see you can see a lot of depressing moments and like stuff where it's like, oh crap, I can't believe that happened. That's pretty like messed up. You know what I mean? And like the
Yeah.
tone feels like really like dark and stuff. So really interesting. And it's really cool that James Gunn said this is gonna be like his last Guardians of the Galaxy movie because he's moving to like DC. And a lot of the characters have said that this is their last time playing the characters as well. They're like, this is my last time. There's very few of them that said they would like want to like reprise the role again. So
Yeah.
it was a good send off for all the characters too.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would say that I enjoyed the story, enjoyed what they did with all the characters. I enjoyed where they left off, or like it seemed like a really good conclusion to like the little trilogy, so that you kind of see where all the characters end up and stuff. So I thought it was pretty good. I really, really enjoyed it. I liked it. And like the villain is just so terrible. Like once again, it's not even a spoiler because you kind of see it in like the trailers, obviously. But yeah, he's just like
Yeah.
this evil guy that just loves to experiment and have you ever seen like that old movie, The Island of Dr. Moreau? You know what I'm talking about? The guy that would like make people into
Oh yeah, no,
animals?
it's a great example of how do you call it gothic fiction or whatever it's called supposedly. Yeah, I've heard about it. Yeah,
Yeah. So if you like, you know about that story, you get the idea with, oh, it's this like guy on an island, he's a mad scientist and he turns people into animals and he just wants to like play God or whatever. Yeah, that's kind of what this dude is like, the high evolutionary. He's like that where he just loves to like, oh, I'm trying to create the perfect society and just do these terrible things to these creatures, like the stuff that we finally get Rocket's like backstory. It's like, oof, it's so rough.
yeah,
So really good villain that it's just like a total a-hole that you like, like damn you hate him. Good story, good characterization. I really love how it really feels like all these movies go together and it's fun to see like where these characters end up. So yeah, I would suggest watching it. I think it's a really good movie. I think it's worth looking at. So really enjoyed it. So
Nice.
yeah. And that was it for my week. That was just like the two things I really did. Watch the anime, watch that movie, and of course play Tears of the Kingdom, which took up the most of my time. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my week. Now, to get into Tears of the Kingdom, because I really want to talk about it, I think we should do it in spoiler and non-spoiler sections. So for now, right here, I'm going to say this is going to be the non-spoiler section. So what we're going to talk about basically is our thoughts on the game, size of the map, things you can do, the powers, maybe stuff like that, I guess. Maybe how far, maybe how far we got. Maybe we can say something like that. That's not too spoilery, I guess. But we won't really talk about story or our thoughts of like what's happening until like the spoiler section, right?
Yeah.
Whoa, your voice is like super off. Did you turn that up on accident? What happened?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, does that sound like super like you were like swallowing the mic? That was funny. All right, so this is gonna be the non-spoiler section. So, what do you think of the game? What's your opinions of it? Oh, actually, first of all, how far have you got it?
Like, I'm still like in the tutorial area.
Okay, but you're like near the end of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Okay, so you're still in the tutorial area, but you're like near the end of it. Good, good, good. As for me, I am to the part where I'm past the tutorial and I've done a lot of side stuff, is I guess that's what to explain it. And I'm about to get to a part where they tell you, kind of once you get to the tutorial, they tell you, oh, it's not really a spoiler because this is how you involve the four tribes, the Gerudo, the Rito, the oh, I always forget their stupid name. What I forget their name. Where's the rock guys' names?
Gorons.
I always forget the Gorons. I'm so sorry. This is how you involve the Gorons, the Gerudo, the Rito, and the oh my god, now I'm forgetting the other guys' names. Oh my god, I'm like it's just Jesus
There's
Christ.
Ritos, there's Soras, there's
Yes,
Gorons.
the Soras. There we go. Jeez, I don't know why I'm forgetting. Jeez, that's so bad. Anyway, yes, the four tribes. The point is that's how you involve them because once you get past the tutorial, they say, oh, there's like a phenomenon happening in each area where like basically each area is screwed up. Like there's something happening, and so they tell you to go investigate. And that's kind of what, like how you get them involved. It kind of what pushes the story. So basically, I went as far as getting past the tutorial, did a bunch of little side quests, here and there, a lot of side content, and I'm on my way to go investigate my first phenomenon, which I went in the direction of the like Rito village.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at. So I'm quite a bit ahead of you. So that's how far you've gone. Okay. What about thoughts on the game? What do you think of it so far? What do you think of like the gameplay, the moves, etc.?
I think it's pretty awesome. I definitely agree with I've seen some ratings where people say it's like the perfect sequel, that's a 10 out of 10. So far, it really, for me, it's going in that direction as well. Like, even like, like before, like I saw like the ratings online, like when I had just barely picked it up and I got to like the tutorial, even I was like, yo, this is like a 10 out of 10 for me so far. Like even like the landscape looks great. That's the thing. And then the gameplay, like literally like looking at my surroundings, I'm like, yeah, I know this game's gonna be like really great. I can tell.
Yeah, like it's crazy because I mean you're put in this tutorial area so you can learn how to do like your moves, which if people see the trailers, it's the thing where like, oh, you can like, go, I guess like phase through like the floor and you can swim up to like the surface or whatever, like the ceiling. And then there's the other move where like, oh, you can like put weapons together, or oh, you can like fuse things together to make like bigger like objects and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Um, and there's like the time one or whatever, the reverse time. So yeah, basically they put you in an area so you can like learn these moves and like test them out. And oh my god, the tutorial area itself is huge.
It is. That's the thing. Like you explore for 5 minutes and then you're like, wait a minute, like, am I like on one small island? And then you look at the islands and they're not like that small. They're like pretty big.
Yeah, it's a whole huge ass area for just like this one
Hmm.
tutorial area. It's like holy crap. And that's just like a little area. So man, it's crazy. And then yeah, the moves are really fun to use too. Like I really like them. I want to say I like them more than the moves from the first game.
Yeah,
You know how like the first game you had like the ice one, the bombs, the things so you can move magnetic stuff, you know, etc. I want to
yeah,
say I like these moves better. I think they're like, more useful. Like I never really liked the ice one, for instance.
yeah,
I never really used the ice one. Like, you know, maybe that's just me too, because I know that some people like take it super pro level and do all sorts of cool stuff. But I never really liked the ice one, honestly. I thought it was just kind of like, oh, you can make little ice platforms. Like, who cares? But I really like, you know, like the using the weapons here to get stronger weapons. I really like the let me put all these like parts together to make these like bridges to like you know get somewhere or crossing a chasm, or let me make like a little boat to sail on the water and like, stuff like that. I think like it's like really fun because it like really gives you a lot of creativity, like what you want to do.
yeah.
And that's something else that I really like too. That I like that, yeah, they definitely in the first game, like there was multiple ways to like solve stuff. Here, I feel like there's even more. Because, like, for instance, there's a part where like I think you're intended to like make it's one of like the first little shrines. You're meant to make like a plank of wood with like a hook, so you can kind of like attach it to this like rod, and you like ride across to like where the exit of like the shrine is. But
Yeah.
because you can carry like the stuff you've created with you like pretty far, I still had like my huge ass bridge I had made to get like up to this point. So I literally just put my bridge like, across the chasm, and I didn't even like have to like make the little plank of
Thing it
wood with like the
wanted you
hook.
to do.
Yeah, I like solved it myself by just like, oh, I was like bringing my stuff from like beginning of the temple with me, and I used that to get across the chasm.
No, that sounds super awesome.
Yes, there's all sorts
Yeah,
of stuff you can do that like maybe it doesn't even intend for you to do it, but like you can solve it yourself just using your moves, which I think is always really cool, you know?
yeah, because based off what I've seen, because some people, the moment the game came out, like literally the moment they got their copy, they literally pulled it up and put it on Twitch, and I saw some people play it. I've seen that there were some people that were like, "Yeah, no, let me not like do what it tells me like exactly I can do," and they just like made like bridges out of like wooden planks and stuff, or like they would go around the whole island and they would try to find as many wooden planks as they can, and then they would like build a bridge out of doing that, or they would like grab a hook and then attach it. If they couldn't do it, they would attach it to the thing, then they would hook it up, and then they would have like a long like like what's it called, the things where you hook it up to the thing, like they would have like a long thing just so they can cross from one place to another basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
So yeah, as I say, it's just crazy. You can like do all sorts of stuff. It like really like rewards your creativity. It really lets you use it, which is crazy.
yeah, now I'm about to make battleships. Okay.
Battleships. But yeah, it's really cool, dude. I'm really enjoying it so far. I think it's really fun. I think that it's cool, like I said, how it really it really like respects and like lets you use your creativity. There's some games where like it would be like, no, like, if you try to do this, like it doesn't let you, you know what I mean? Which I think is the only parts where it's kind of annoying. There is some shrines where it does kind of say like, no, you have to fight an enemy this way because it's supposed to be like training you.
Yeah,
So I think that those are kind of annoying because it's like, oh, I have to do the move it says, or I can't like progress. That's kind of silly. But I get it. It's supposed to teach you the moves basically. It's like a tutorial, so it's not too big of a deal. But that's like the only part where I feel like it's kind of been restrictive.
yeah.
I'm trying to think of other non-spoiler stuff we can talk about. I don't know. That might be it, honestly, because we're talking about the gameplay, how we really like it, the world. Um, yeah, I guess that's all we can really talk about. It's like not spoilery because I feel like everything else I'm thinking of is kind of spoilers. Um, I guess just like kind of, if people are kind of wondering, I'll mention some stuff. So yeah, outfits are back. There's still a lot of outfits you can buy and find, and they have different upgrades. So that's back. The recipes are definitely back. Those, they give you different like buffs and stuff. They're back, so that's pretty cool. Weapon durability is back, for better or worse. Like I said, at least you can kind of combine weapons and do a lot of stuff. So that kind of makes it more interesting. But yeah, it does kind of suck sometimes that you're like in the middle of like fighting. You're like, oh great, my weapon broke. I have to like switch or like find another one. It can be a
Yeah.
bit annoying. I don't mind it too much. There's just certain parts where if I'm doing something really important and then like I start running out of weapons, it kind of sucks. I'm like, dude, like I wish I had at least like one reliable weapon that doesn't break. Because if I run out of weapons, what am I supposed to do like in this encounter? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks. Besides that, though, I don't mind it too much. We have weapon durability is back. Recipes are back. Outfits are back. What else? What else? That's pretty much it. A lot of side quests like before. Little Korok dudes are back. All sorts of other different side quests are here. Yeah, it's just like a really good sequel. I like where it picks up, where it really does feel like you're in the same world, but time has passed and you're still dealing with like an issue and trying to deal with it, and it just feels like very large scale, which is cool. So,
Yeah.
any other thoughts before we move on to spoilers? Anything you can think of that's like a non-spoiler that maybe you enjoyed or you thought was cool?
Huh. Trying to think. I think that really is pretty much it.
Yeah, because that's just like the basics, right? Anything else I think we're going to talk about is going to be spoiler. Alrighty, guys. So in that case, at this point, that's going to be the end of the non-spoiler section. So if you haven't played the game or you're one of those people that really cares about spoilers, this would probably be the part where you want to jump ahead in the timestamp to where we, finish talking about it, basically. So yeah, I guess the links in the description below, so you can, skip ahead or whatever. But yeah, we're going to start the spoiler section, including like a lot of story stuff, maybe our ideas of like the lore and what's happening, theories, that sort of thing. We're going to start talking about it in a little bit. So this is your warning. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, now we're talking about spoilers. Okay, so for anyone who's still here, either because you've already played and you want to hear what we think about it, or you don't care, so the game is really crazy because it starts right where the first trailer showed us that they're underground. And yeah, basically the first thing that happens is that you learn about the Zonai, and then you get to a part where there's these murals, and it's really crazy. This is where I'm kind of still confused of how this is all going to work. Zelda explains that at some point the Zonai came down from the heavens, like they had like a sky society, which makes sense as well. Little sky islands we've talked about. They came down from some sort of sky society, and one of their members married a Hylian, which in the little mural, it looks kind of like her, and it's probably the lady. I'm guessing it's the lady we saw in the trailer that looks like her, but like more ancient or whatever. It has like kind of like orange hair. They explain that that lady was a Hylian. She apparently married this Zonai hero that looks kind of like a goat guy, and apparently they're the ones that he was the first king of Hyrule, and they established Hyrule. Which, okay, that sounds pretty cool. Good lore. Good lore. But what confuses me is like, wait a minute, but if you play Skyward Sword, which is supposed to be at the beginning of the timeline, there are no Zonai. And it's implied that Zelda and Link are the ones that stay on the surface to create Hyrule. So where does Zonai come in? So I'm kind of confused about that. I'm really hoping that gets explained, because like Zonai have never been discussed except for like Breath of the Wild. So like, where did that come in? Which is weird.
Yeah.
And then, from there, she's talking about all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then they mentioned the imprisoning war, which I guess is supposed to be the war that happened. How in the first Breath of the Wild, 100 years pass after Link got injured. But they do mention that before that, there was like a war that happened 1,000 years before that. So I'm guessing it's supposed to be the 1,000 years before that where the imprisoning war happens. So that's interesting. So they give us that bit of lore. And then, of course, you keep going farther and farther into the catacombs, and that's where you see, there's like this green arm holding down Ganondorf, and as soon as like the arm, for whatever reason, lets go, as soon as you show up, he like revives as a mummy, and he like raises the castle up into the sky, and he falls into the depths below. But not before he like destroys Link's Master Sword and totally like corrupts his arm, and he makes it shrivel up. And he basically, Link gets separated from Zelda, but because she found like a little like tear, which I guess is like the tears of the kingdom, she teleports away, which is really interesting. And then from there, that's where you get to your tutorial area where you wake up and the guy whose name is Rauru, who's the goat guy, the first king of Hyrule, apparently the reason you have powers is because he put his arm on Link. So Link is literally running around with the arm that's not his. And yeah, it's all like has like a tattoo, it's like a really black arm, has really long like fingernails or whatever. They're like painted like green or whatever. And that's what gives him the powers, which is pretty cool. So, and I mean, all of that stuff is like a really good intro, really good setup. And I don't know, I think it's really cool story wise. Like, I've really enjoyed that part of the story. I think it's like a really strong starter. Like, what do you think?
Same. I think that like what you just said exactly, and I feel like that's a good way too because like literally other Zelda games they kind of start off like I don't feel like they have like that much like lore stuff added at the beginning. And even if they do, it's stuff that they never really explain in other like games after.
Or it's stuff that like, I guess I could take Skyward Sword to example. It starts with like them talking about the imprisoning war. No, I don't think they talk about it. I think maybe it talks about. I don't remember exactly how it starts, but I know it starts with like they show. Maybe they talk about the imprisoning war, and then they show like the imprisoned, and it growls, or roars, or whatever, and then it cuts like Link waking up from a nightmare, and that's like all the lore you get. And then it's like, oh, you see Link's day-to-day stuff, blah blah blah, and then a few hours in, then he gets separated from Zelda, and like story stuff happens. So it's kind of cool. This one has like a lot of story stuff at the beginning.
Yeah, that, and then I feel like it's a good way because if you know someone they want to play the game and like you want to explain the game, but you know you can't, it helps that you can't exactly spoil it for people, basically. Like literally, like I know that, like yeah, like if I have a friend, for example, because I know all my friends have gotten the game already. Like they literally, like yesterday, I know a friend, one of them, he literally pre-ordered it. He grabbed it like from Best Buy, like right after school.
Yeah.
Like I know he probably like right now he hasn't played anything. Me, I played a bit. If I was to literally explain to him everything that's happened, like in the past like few hours of me playing, I guarantee you it would be like a huge spoiler. It doesn't even matter. Like it's a huge spoiler because the way they introduce all this stuff is like very like not plot heavy, but it's still heavy in the sense that like it's major like a major lore dump. That's what it's called. Like it's a major lore dump.
Yeah,
So like
like for instance, even the shrines is crazy because you know how I just explained that, like, oh, there's the first king of Hyrule, and he's the hero whose arm you have, and he married like the Hylian woman or whatever. Literally, the first shrine you go to, when you get to the end, instead of it being one of those monks that sitting cross-legged with like the big old Sheikah hat, it's a
yeah.
statue of the two of them, husband and wife. They're the ones who are at the end of the shrine, and they're the ones who give you like the blessing, which in this game you 4 blessings, heart container, or a piece of stamina. I mean that's the
Yeah.
upgrades. So they're the ones at the end of each shrine, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and so from there, like I said, you do each of the little shrines to get one of the powers and learn how to do it. And once you get through 3 of them, he then makes you do like a fourth one, I believe. I don't remember if it was like four. I think he makes you do one more. It's like farther away. Once you do that one, you finally come back to like the middle area of the that Sky Island, the shore area, and it's the Temple of Time. And that's where it gets really interesting because the whole time you've been told, oh, you got separated from Zelda. Zelda's supposed to be in the Temple of Time. You gotta go find her. Blah blah blah. But when you get there, all you see is this like spirit orb, and when you touch it, it like I don't know how to explain it, but like it like reacts, and then Link takes out his broken Master Sword, and he like touches it to the light, and then it shows that wherever Zelda's at, she takes the Master Sword, and she like keeps it, and she's like gonna like repair it for you. And so, like,
Oh,
what it's
that's cool.
implied is that, like, I think when she used the tear, oh, based on also what Raru said, because Raru's from the past, he's a spirit. He says, like, I don't have a physical body anymore, but he says, oh, Zelda's told me so much about you, which is like really weird. And then when you get to that
Yeah.
part, and like she takes the sword through like that little like light orb, so it's implied that she traveled back in time using that tear. So when you start fall down the chasm and like teleport, she didn't teleport like away. She teleported back in time apparently, which is like super crazy.
Yeah.
So it looks like what it's implying is that she's gonna help you from across like time and space.
Yeah,
So that's really crazy.
that was pretty
Uh,
lit.
yeah, that's really interesting. That's really crazy. Like, even though it sucks that we got separated from her, and you know how a lot of people are wanting her to be like more involved. If she's like doing stuff across time and space, I mean, at least that's kind of cool that she's like doing stuff and like helping us out. You know, what I mean, like laying clues for us to use in the future. Like that's something at least. You know, it's like okay, at least she's involved in the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, then once you finish the tutorial section, you finally dive back to like the world because you hear Zelda's voice telling you to go to near Castletown. And when you get there, you know, that's where I was this is the most of what I this is where like the world really opens up. You go back to like the original map from the original game, although it's like different now, obviously. But you go back to the original map, and then everyone's like, "Holy crap, what happened? You and Zelda disappeared." And you kind of explain that Zelda's still missing, and that's where they explain that there's a bunch of phenomenon in different parts of the world, and that they need you to go investigate, try to get these clues about Zelda because there's been like sightings of her, and one of them happens at Castletown where you see her looking up at like the sky and she like flies away. And so they're like, we've seen her and she pops up in different places, but we don't really know what's happening, so she's
Yeah,
missing.
that's weird.
Yeah. And so I don't know if that's like I said again, I don't know if that's her purposely like leaving clues for you to follow of like different like important things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then from there, that's where I ended up doing a lot of sites content, a lot of exploring and shrines to like, increase my hearts and all that stuff. Um, there's an area that's crazy. So it's not just the sky and the ground. There is an underground section too.
Damn.
Because what the that those researchers, remember Robbie and Pura or whatever, the
Yeah.
Sheikah scientist.
Hmm.
Robbie looks the same, but Pura apparently she used like a potion or whatever magic to like she's back to like her 20-year-old self, so she's like an
Yeah.
adult again. And they have like a little assistant that it's like a little white-haired kid with the glasses, and basically the little kid asks you to investigate like something underground. So you go with Robbie, and yeah, the underground section is huge as well. It's like a whole other map.
Damn.
So I explored a little bit of the underground. I did a bunch of shrines, a lot of exploring. Went to different stables. That's pretty cool because it like saves your horses from the previous game, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, just a lot of exploring and stuff. Like I said, a lot of side content. Like there's wells that you can find a lot and you like explore because all of them have like different treasures and like items and stuff. And then there's this lady that tells you like, oh, I'm gonna be like in this section next. And when you go and like tell her what wells you've discovered, she like pays you for like each well you've discovered or whatever, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah, and then there's I'm trying to think what else I did. Oh, I went to both villages, both Hateno and
Kakarito?
huh?
Kakarito?
Yeah, I went to both of them. And yeah, when you go back to Kakarito, that's the one where I want to say the Sheikah were in the original one, if I'm not like mixing them up. That's the one where the Sheikah were in the original. And yeah, there's like stuff going on there where there's a bunch of ruins just like floating above the village, which is pretty interesting. And then it's kind of cool because you see that Paya, she's like the chief now. They don't really say
Yeah.
what happened to Impa. I hope she didn't die. She might have died. I don't know. But they say that Paya's like the chief now, which is cool. So more progression, which is fun. And then when you go to Hot to Know, it's crazy because there's like a bunch of like mushroom stuff going on where there's like this like clothes designer that like is getting everybody to be into like mushroom fashion, which is weird. I don't know. Um, but it's kind of fun that yeah, apparently like, the town's grown even more, and it's like a lot of like fashion stuff's going on. So that was fun. Oh, a big one here. Yes, that's the one I want to talk about. Do you remember Link's house from the Breath of the Wild?
In the Hot to Know
Yeah.
village?
Yeah, remember how you can make like a house, right? And you can like
Yeah.
leave. Okay, so it's really crazy because people are wondering when Link's house come back. It took me a while to find it. I don't know why. I was like so dumb. I just kept getting lost. I finally found his house. But guess
Yeah.
what's so weird about his house?
What?
Okay, so you get to his house, and okay, the guys aren't outside anymore. There's no longer a sign that says Link's house. So you're like, okay, is it somebody else's house now? Like, what's the deal? And you go inside, and it has all of this like different furniture and pictures and whatever. So what I assumed is that oh, maybe he doesn't live there anymore. Maybe he like sold it to like a villager or something. But no, you go up the stairs to like, where the bed was, and there's a diary, and it's Zelda's diary. And then she's talking about how if you go to Hateno, there's like a little school that got built. And it's
Yeah.
her basically talking about how she built a school. She's trying to help like the kids from the future. She's trying to do things for the future. How her and Link have been traveling around all of Hyrule and trying to fix things up and help people in need. Blah blah blah. Well, backwards. It starts with her saying that they're going all around Hyrule trying to fix things up, help people in need, make a difference. Blah blah blah. Then it talks about Hateno, how they built the school, and how she's currently staying in Hateno because the school is really important to her.
Yeah.
And then what's weird is that at some point, I don't know why, I don't even know like how it ties in, but she's talking about that. She goes, "Oh yeah, I even asked Bolson, which is one of the original builder dudes. I asked him to make a secret room for me in my house that I can go to like get away and like really like concentrate or something like that." And she says, "Yeah, it's in a damp area that's dark, but luckily like he fixed it up just right so it doesn't like it's comfortable or something like that." And so I'm like, that's weird. I wonder where her house is. I'm still thinking because like, you know, and then you keep exploring the area outside Link's house and you see a well and you go in the well and it's all of Zelda's stuff is set up in there. That's the room she's talking about. And you even go to a chest and you open it and it has Link's hair tie from the first game. So apparently what happened is that it's not Link's house anymore. That's Zelda's house now.
Damn.
But what's even weirder though, it's like, okay, so I'm like, so if this is Zelda's house, then where the fuck's Link's house? And I'm just looking around, but then I kind of noticed that if you look in the house, there's like two like chairs and there's like enough things for two. So I think the implication is I think they live together in their house now.
Damn.
So that's really interesting. So I'm like, huh, you think she could live in the castle? You think they could each like live in a house somewhere? But no, I think like Link and Zelda literally live together now because like that's what it implies because that's her house now apparently, and she has spots for two of them, and there's nowhere else that says Link lives. So that's really interesting. Like, huh, these two are living together apparently. Like that's all right. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool. It's kind of funny too. The little detail that in the chest in her secret room, she has Link's hair tie. I'm like, that's interesting. Like that's like a lot of like fuel for people who like ship them together. Like there's definitely like
Yeah.
a lot of fuel, you know what I mean? So I'm like, that's interesting. I didn't expect that. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool that it doesn't tell you anything outright, but if you pay attention to all the stuff, it's like, huh. Seems like yeah, like they're like living together, I guess, and like they're like always together, like doing stuff and stuff. So I'm like, that's pretty interesting actually.
No,
So
that's pretty
okay.
lit.
So that's pretty cool. Yeah, yeah, interesting. And besides that, like I said, where I cut off is that I was going to go investigate the first phenomenon. It was going to be the one in the Rito village, which is in that area, to like the north, like west or
Hmm.
whatever. And all I know is that there's like a lot of snow. So that's what they're dealing with. Their phenomenon is that there's like a lot of snow that they're dealing with. So yeah,
That's super cool.
yeah. But yeah, so far I'm enjoying the game, and it's really cool. And like I said, it's just really cool seeing that. Yeah, it's like a good sequel where like time has passed since the first one. I'm like, not really sure how much time, but time has definitely passed. It's kind of cool to see how the map has changed, see how the characters are like doing different things, and yeah, I'm just like really interested to see more of like the game and what's gonna happen because I was expecting from like the trailer, where the part where Ganondorf talks and he says, like witness the rebirth of like a king or whatever, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to happen when you first find like the mummy, but no, like when he's the mummy, he just like sinks into the depths. So I'm wondering if maybe like at some point in the story, maybe he's like healing while you're doing all that stuff. So maybe later you'll run into him and that's when he'll be like fully revived or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he's taking his time to rehydrate.
Yeah, yeah, because everyone was saying he had to rehydrated Ganondorf.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was expecting that to happen. And it didn't happen, so that's interesting. And yeah, I just like don't really know what to say about like the story yet. Like I said, the biggest thing for me is that I am really wondering how this is going to explain itself because it doesn't have anything to do with what we've seen before. Like this zone I have never been talked about before. As far as we know, Skyward Sword is at the beginning of the timeline. I would think that Zelda and Link are the first ones to like establish Hyrule. So what do they mean? Oh no, Hylians were here, and then the Zonai, he was the first king. How does that work? It's so weird to me.
Yeah.
especially because Skyloft is in the sky. So like, where was the other Sky Kingdom? If I thought Skyloft was nothing in the sky. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird, right? Like, it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty cool stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just really wondering. I'm at a part where I don't have enough clues to really know what's gonna happen with the story yet. But I'm just really interested to see how all this goes together, like how it ties in. And yeah, I mean, if Zelda's in the past, I wonder how you can get her back to like the present. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That'll be interesting to see too, I guess. So I don't know. But yeah, I'm enjoying the game so far. Really good combat, really good gameplay with like the mechanics of all the moves. Um, yeah, there's just so many places to use the moves too. It's like so cool. And even in the shrines, I think these shrines are a bit more fun than like the first ones, the first
Yeah.
game. Because once again, like I said here, it just feels like when you have to use the mechanics, it just feels more like I don't know. In the first ones, I just feel like they were more annoying too, because like the motion controls and stuff. Here, like
Yeah.
using the moves just feels like more fun. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I've enjoyed the puzzles more.
That was cool.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. This feels like more rewarding versus the first one. It's I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, so pretty cool stuff, and I'm enjoying it so far. And I guess this is where the spoilers end. So, spoilers end here. So for anyone who happened to jump over here, welcome back. We're done with spoilers. We were just talking about stuff about like the story and how honestly we're not that far in, so we're not really too sure what's happening yet, but we had like some ideas we kind of threw out. So yeah, really enjoying the game. I would give it a 10 out of 10 or something close to it. What about you?
Like I said, before we got into the spoilers, because then yeah, 'cause we did the non-spoilers. Um, Same thing. I give it like a 10 out of 10. Like I've said from the very beginning of the game, like the tutorial, I literally was like, this is a 10 out of 10 so far. Like this is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, like it just really feels like really polished and like really
Like they
like
put a
damn,
lot
like
of effort and time into it.
yeah. Yeah, like if you thought the first Breath of the Wild was like crazy with all the mechanics and stuff, like this one just expands on it. Like it's really crazy that like man, when they say they were taking a while to make it and people were like, like kind of disappointed. Like no, it's one of those things where like when they say they're working on something, what's that like meme going around? Let them cook.
Let them cook. Yeah,
Yeah, like
exactly.
let them cook, dude, because like they like really had new ideas and new things to do, and they really like, damn, dude, like it's
Put it
really
on the
crazy.
table.
Yeah, and I'm sure I haven't even seen like everything yet because I'm not even like that far, honestly. So,
Yeah, so
and I think the story was interesting so far. So I'm hoping that as it progresses, it continues to be interesting. Hopefully, not that the first one was disappointing, but it was a bit lacking. You know what I mean? Like, hopefully, here it has more.
mhm.
Besides that, did we want to tell the people about our plan for the channel? Did you want to throw that out there? Should we tell them?
Uh, I think we should actually, yeah.
All right. So, and by the time this goes up, I think there's like one episode or two left of Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories. I think by the time this goes up, we should be to that part where we're almost at the end with Riku's story. So, obviously, since we record stuff ahead of time, that means that for a while now we were thinking, oh man, what should we record? What should we do next? We had, kind of been struggling to think of what to do. And that was kind of funny since Tears of the Kingdom was coming out. We kind of just as a joke said, oh, like, what if we like did Tears of the Kingdom? That would be interesting, wouldn't it? And we thought about it, we're like, yeah, why not? That would be kind of fun. So, just announcing it here, that our next LP is that we are going to be playing Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom on the channel.
Yeah. No, I'm
Yeah,
super
so
hyped about it. Yeah.
yeah, so we're gonna start doing that. Those will start going up, pretty much as soon as Kingdom Hearts ends. I mean, maybe we'll miss a day of up, we'll see. Depends on how you know how our recording sessions go, but that should go up very, very soon. And I'm excited. The one thing I'll say is that maybe kind of like Persona, there might be some cuts here and there. There might be some grinding off screen.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm not guaranteeing it yet, but we
Yeah.
might because there might be some stuff where it's like, oh, why show like every shrine on camera? I'm not too sure yet. Maybe we'll skip some stuff, maybe we won't. I haven't decided yet. So I'm just kind of throwing it out there that, I'm not too sure yet what it'll be like. They will try to cover like all the important stuff, but you never know. Maybe there's some stuff we'll skip, or maybe not. Maybe if you feel that it makes sense, maybe we'll do all the shrines too. We'll see. But I'm just throwing it out there that we might skip. I'm not sure yet. But we will at least for sure show all the important stuff. Don't worry about that. Like we will show all like the important story stuff. We'll show all of like the bosses and if there's dungeons or whatever, because I've heard there might be dungeons. We'll show all that. So it's still a work in progress, but we're definitely excited. We know it's a big commitment because it's a really big game, but we're looking forward to it. Like definitely.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys, and that's going to be it for this podcast. It was a short one because, of course, most of our week was Tears of the Kingdom, and most of the talk went to that. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this podcast. If you're excited for the game, hopefully this is getting you even more excited. Hopefully you're even more hyped to play it. We'll see. And let us know what your experiences are with the game so far as well. If you're playing it, tell us, have you been enjoying it and what you think of like the lore and all that, let us know.
Yeah.
And that's going to be it for this week. We will try our hardest to be back next week. We'll see how that goes. Until next time, this is Legend of Jonathan and WeeB'S signing off. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.